Alright, what is up guys? As you can see from the screenshot on my screen, and from the title of this video, you're going to know what I'm talking about. So SDF has said there are arenas coming for Dark and Darker, and what does this mean? Well, the question that was asked to him that he's replying to that you can't really see because it says the message is deleted, even though it wasn't, is somebody asked him in chat, because sometimes he'll just answer people's questions about like things for the game, asked him, said, are you guys gonna make like a PvP arena that you can just go in to like test test stuff, practice fighting, and not lose gear? And his response is, the arena is currently being designed and will definitely be delivered a space only for PvP. And this is something I want to talk about. Obviously, we have absolutely no information on this. I have no information. I'm going to go over some of the things I think potentially could happen, or some of the ways I think they could implement this, and some of the ways I want them to implement this. And I think it's possible maybe we get more information about this later, because as of the time I'm recording this right now, because I'll probably upload this right after just because I'm lazy. This is probably a no thumbnail video. But as the time I am recording this video, Jay and So Bad Strange will be doing their podcast, The Darkest Hour. Go check that out if you haven't. They'll be doing that podcast later. And on the podcast, they'll have Terrence and SDF, I believe. And they're going to talk about a bunch of stuff, ask them a bunch of questions. So maybe we'll hear more about the arena there. I'm not actually sure. However, this, like I said, if we do and everything I say is completely wrong, then, it is what it is, but that's okay. So, for starters, if you don't know, pretty much what it's going to be, I assume, like, or if you don't know what, like, arenas in most games, or it'll just be like, you queue up as like a 3-man, because I'm assuming to be trios. You queue up as a 3-man, you match with 3 other people, you are put in a preset map, so probably not, the full map. It'd probably be a smaller map, either like, I imagine like a 2x2, 3x3 module, something like that, with no loot, and it's just for PvP, right? Maybe even a smaller area, but I'd assume they'd have different layouts like cover and stuff, because otherwise it would just make certain classes really hard to play. So they just put you in a preset map, and you fight, sometimes, depending on how the game is, they can make it winner takes all. So, if you die in it, you lose your gear, they take your gear. Or they just make it where you just fight and you don't actually lose gear, which I think is what I really, really want. For several reasons. One reason being that, let's say it's an area that you don't lose gear. And here, I'm actually going to show you something that I kind of did in anticipation of this. So let's say you don't lose your gear, right? That means you can run the best gear you possibly have, and you don't have to care about losing it, because a lot of people are scared of losing their gear, right? That's usually why they don't run that good of gear if they get it, because they're scared of losing it. A really, really good example of this is named weapons. As you see right here, this Kuma's Fang. A lot of people, when they get named weapons, will never even run them. Even if it's something they can use, they'll never even run them because it's just not really worth it. For example, I just bought this Kuma's Fang for 26 keys, and if you don't know the price of keys, roughly speaking, that's probably somewhere around 200,000 gold, right? So most people are never going to run the name weapons they get because they could just sell it, and that 200,000 gold will fund them for an entire wipe. Because, and so the choice is like to one really OP piece of gear or, 100 different sets I can build with all that gold. So they're never going to run this because they're scared of losing it. It's just not worth it. However, if in the arenas you don't lose gear, this fear of losing it automatically gone. Or like, just like thought of, oh, it's not worth it to run it, is just gone because you don't lose your kit that you take in. So like I said, I do not have any information. I bought this Kuma's specifically hoping that when they release arenas, you don't lose gear. If it comes out and you do lose your gear and I bought this, I mean, it's not a big deal. I'll just sell it back. The problem is that if you wait to buy it to see, whenever it comes out, if you then don't lose your gear, the prices of named weapons, because of this reason I just said, are going to skyrocket. It's going to jump through the roof. So I bought mine now. It's nothing like fantastic. It's pretty solid, mid-base damage roll, 2 good rolls, like damage rolls. That's acceptable. But other than that being said, I really, really hope that they do it that way. They do it so, you bring your own gear in and you don't lose it. Or, if nothing else, allow us to make like a bet on it, right? Like, we both enter, we pay like 5,000 gold to enter, winner takes 10,000 gold, you 5,000 deposit plus their 5,000, something like that. Or even if it's nothing that literally there are no stakes on, I wouldn't even mind it. Just a space where I can go and just PvP would be fantastic. One of the big reasons I don't want it to be like winner takes all, like, you lose all your gear, or like you do like a full loot, is the problem would be then top players wouldn't have a reason to play anything but arenas. They wouldn't have a reason to like play normal crypts or trios or whatever. Because why would I play that and loot when I can just kill everybody else that I play against in there and take their gear and sell it and make my money that way? Now, that is obviously, something that could happen, and I'm sure this is going to be probably pretty far off. So it's probably still pretty like decently under development, and I don't know if we're going to get it necessarily soon. I hope we do, but there's no guarantee. But another big issue with this is an issue that I've mentioned before with a lot of other things, is adding more game modes is not necessarily a good thing. It's cool that you can let people play what they want to play, and there's like, more options for people to play. However, at some point, your player base is too small to support all the game modes you're trying to put in. And that is not something you want to happen. You do not want to have, too many game modes and not enough players to fill those game modes. Because then you just have like 10 game modes that are all like pretty much dead, or you have like 10 and 9 of them are dead and one of them is like popular. That's where all the players are. You don't want that to happen, which is something I'm worried about genuinely. But with that being said, I am incredibly excited for arenas. Like I said, this video is pretty much like it's just entirely speculation. I do not have any information on this. Other than this screenshot you see on the screen, that is the only information I have on this. Everything else is pure speculation. And I know that Grayson, in particular, has been playing a lot of Tarkov arenas. So maybe they model it after that, which would not be super surprising, because I know he's like a really big fan of that. And like, because there are a lot of ways they could do this. One way they could do it is you have pre-made kits that you go in with. Like, let's say I pick fighter and I pick a halberd kit, right? And it takes me in with like a halberd and a crossbow in like blue gear. Or, like I said, like maybe they rarity like limit. They may like rarity limit it, so like you can't bring in better than purple gear, better than blue gear, something like that. I think there are a ton of ways they can do this, but the problem is it would be really easy for people to not enjoy this, because the thing is, if you make it where it's full loot, so like if you die you lose everything, it's not really going to attract most people, because most people are just like, most people like that have green gear aren't like, sure, they might try it at first, but why would they play that when they know they're going to be at a giant disadvantage fighting geared teams, when they could just go like norms and loot and actually get better gear? That's like, see, that's the problem. However, if you don't lose your gear and you fight these really geared teams, there's no harm in it. Like, it's like, oh, we died to people that are like super geared. Like, what does it matter? We just queue up again. We didn't lose anything, right? That is the main thing there. But other than that, I don't think there's too much I really want to talk about regarding this. Like I said, obviously we have no information yet. As we get more information, I will keep you guys updated on this, because this is something I personally have been wanting for a very, very long time, and I'm super, super excited for this. Honestly, because the thing is, if they release this, I'd assume there'd be leaderboards for it, right? Because that would make sense. If there are leaderboards for this, I would be perfectly fine with Crypt staying the way it is in terms of how the leaderboards work, and they're mostly PvE based. Because a lot of players don't really care about PvP that much, and they're like, they don't care about it. It's like, they don't love it. They don't hate it, but they don't love it. So the arena is somewhere for all like the sweats that love PvP to go and fight, and that would be fantastic. And then Crypts is just kind of like, you loot, get gear there, and then maybe take it to the arena. Also, something else to consider is, I know before they have said, they've been asked like, what about esports for the game, like running tournaments and all that stuff. And they have said if it's something people want, they would be open to doing esports. And I wonder if this arena is like their first iteration of potentially doing some sort of competitive scene for this game. Because that would make sense to me. Because obviously just normal crypts and like queuing, like there's been a tournament before that I played in, but that's not like super competitive, right? That's just like, you're not directly competing against people you're playing against. You're just fighting randoms in the lobby and for points. It's not the same. However, this is like, one of the first things for like direct competition, and this also opens potentially, having like custom games and things like that, which could be really, really cool, and it just adds more to the game that there is to do. Because like, if you just want to, like, let's say you just want to practice PvPing, and you get some friends, you go in there, have a nice 3v3, play for a while, like that would be really, really fun. And like I said, that does open room for tournaments. It makes it way easier. Something else that I'm really, really hoping for this is a spectator. Because obviously, I know you can spectate people, like if they kill you, you used to be able to, and you can't. I guess you can't H Orbit again norms, but I really want a spectator, because imagine like you can just go spectate people's games. That would be really fun. That would be just fantastic. Even I would love to do that. I would love to go, because then you can watch like really high level gameplay consistently, which is not something you normally do. Like, sure, you can watch YouTube videos, you can watch Twitch streams, but that's not always going to be like high level geared fights. However, this, because for the most part, the people that are going to play are probably going to be geared, because they're doing it for the fun. And it's not that fun to fight in like super bad gear when you're fighting against people in good gear, because most of the time you're just going to get steamrolled, right? That's just how it's going to be. Oh, excuse me, I'm yawning. I'm tired. And something else that this is like, honestly, it's sad that I even have to say this, but something else that super excites me right now is one huge problem with Dark and Darker. And if you watch Twitch streams, you see it a lot. Is that stream snipers are horrible right now. It is like pretty much a streamer cannot play an hour without getting sniped at least once. And this isn't necessarily just people sniping them to try to kill them. A lot of times what will happen is there are like random rogues, usually rogues, or warlocks that'll sit in the zone, and they just watch your stream, wait for you to kill people, and they'll run up and loot the scraps of the bodies. That literally happened to me earlier. We were fighting a really good geared team. We killed like a gold fighter, had like unique courage ring on him. I was like, oh, bet. But when my teammates died, so I had to go help my teammate res him, make sure he didn't die, resing him, make sure no one jumped away resing him. I stepped away from the body. The fighter's dead in a corner, like in a room, no one saw, dead in a corner, in the dark, can't see his body. I step away for 5 seconds to stand by him while he's resing, get back over, there are 2 rats standing over the body looting him. I chased one of the guys. One of the guys ran away and was VoIPing to another team to open a blue portal for him, which they did and he took out. And it's just like, huh? But however, in arenas, obviously, you know, assuming they even try to fight you, if they do, it's an even fight that's, you know, fair, you know they're there, nothing else they can really do about that, and even if you, like, and then also, you know, if you don't lose gear, you don't lose gear. However, that pretty much sums up the video. There's not a whole lot I can talk about, just, you know, 2 sentences that we have no information about. Like I said, as they speak more about this, I will keep you guys updated, because I personally am very, very excited for this. But with that all being said, if you enjoyed or you know, you're hyped for it, feel free to leave a comment, tell me about it, tell me what you want for it, tell me what you don't want for it, you know, assumptions, thoughts, expectations, all that stuff. And until next time, peace.